Yo, 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 it's your boy, the insurance junkie, your fiduciary fella, the all-star advisor Alonzo Hall, and I've returned today with another ADH wealth solution. Today, we'll begin to discuss fulfilling all of your financial needs. To contribute to channel growth, the links are in the description. To schedule an appointment of your own, or to purchase life insurance directly up to $1 million with no medical exam and an instant decision, my information is in the description. Lastly, make sure you hit that like, drop a comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you're made aware every time I release new content. And as always, share, share, share. And now, here's our next feature. Salute, 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 salute. It's your boy, the insurance junkie, your fiduciary fella, the all-star advisor, Alonzo Hall, and I've returned today to whap and tap on your head with another ADH wealth solution. Today, we're going to be looking at a study from an instructor at New York University, and this is entitled Life in the Midst of Death, Notes on the Relationship Between Slave Insurance, Life Insurance, and Disability. Before we go in, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you hit that like, drop a comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you're made aware every time I release new content. And as always, share, share, share. Lastly, to contribute to channel growth, to purchase life insurance directly up to $1 million with an instant decision and no medical exam, or to schedule a one-on-one appointment with a licensed financial professional, the links are in the description. As we proceed to give you what you need. So the abstract. This article examines the way post-bellum genres of disability, race, and credit debt shaped the emergence of the U.S. slave insurance and life insurance industries. After all, the same period which witnessed the demise of formal enslavement saw the debut of structures that protected the privilege of people whose wealth and power suddenly threatened to come undone. This would include sharecropping and convict leasing. Despite a similar emphasis on institutionalizing credit-debt relations, insurance sometimes appears benign by comparison. Even though insurance agencies assign differential value to human lives, the birth of insurance is frequently seen along with the triumph of capitalism and democracy as a part of the birth of freedom. In what follows, I explore a discourse on debility that is likewise a discourse on debt, one with enduring resonance for social movement politics. And again, this was created by Michael Ralph of New York University. And you see here his email, michael.ralph@nyu.edu. Now, what he is explaining was something that I explained to many people. Life insurance has been around since before the stock market. Life insurance was the original options contract. Life insurance actually is an investment, but so many places like Goldman Sachs and et cetera, and the banksters of the world want regular Americans to go to the stock market as opposed to cash value life insurance. Even when you have people who say things like, well, BOLI is for retirement accounts, and because the stock market banks put $6 billion into the stock market and $22.3 billion into cash value life insurance. Why? Because the stock market is not guaranteed and life insurance is guaranteed. Even though BOLI is used for retirement accounts, you want guaranteed money, not non-guaranteed or speculative money. Because you want to know that when you're 60, your money is there. Because if you save $60,000 today, $60,000 today does not equate $60,000 of spending power 30 years from now, when maybe your expenses are lower, but they're actually higher because inflation. At any rate, in life, in the midst of death, and a day or hour may paralyze the hand which feeds the helpless. In a country like ours, with untrammeled energies and eager grasp, where going along the road would lead to fortune and greatness. We sometimes travel too fast, and great commercial convulsions are inevitable consequences, which brings ruin on individuals, the most prudent and cautious. Take a person so situated, with the uncertainty of life hanging over him, and how much more cheerfully would he toil on? Could he say, "Come what may, my life is insured, and my wife and children are sure of something to save them from want"? Josiah C. Nott, Life Insurance at the South, May 1847. As long as the Negro is sound and worth more than the amount of the insured, self-interest will prompt the owner to preserve the life of the slave. But if the slave became unsound and there is little prospect of perfect recovery, the underwriters cannot expect fair play. The insurance money is worth more than the slave, and the latter is regarded rather in the light of a superannuated horse. Josiah C. Nott, Statistics of Southern Slave Plantation, November 1847. On August 25th, 2011, NBC and other news outlets reported a scheme that U.S. presidential candidate Rick Perry, then governor of Texas, had concocted in 2003 to take out life insurance policies on retiring public school teachers through the Swiss financial firm UBS, United Bank Suisse, a couple of months before the firm would declare that, in part as a result of the global financial crisis, it had faced many heavy and substantial losses, and nearly 6 months before UBS would make the news again as one of the corporate entities entrusted with some of the presidential candidate Mitt Romney's Swiss accounts, as cited in the 2010 tax returns he made public in January of 2012. The rationale behind Perry's indecent proposal, these senior citizens had a high probability to die within the next decade, and when they did, the government of Texas could turn a profit. Michael Moore examines a similar practice in his 2009 documentary, Capitalism, a love story through the devastating revelation that a number of Fortune 500 companies, including Bank of America, Citibank, McDonnell Douglas, Hershey, Nestle, Walmart, Procter & Gamble, and American Express, have made use of what industry insiders call COLI, corporate-owned life insurance policies, more commonly known as dead peasant insurance, meaning that life insurance policy your job has on you is to pay the job to replace you when you die, not to take care of your family. But hey, maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. When Daniel L. Johnson died of cancer, Moore tells us Amity Bank made more than $5 million on policies it had taken out in his name that were never shared with his dependents. There is a reason that it is illegal for me to take out a fire insurance policy on your house. Moore insists, incredulous that anyone could provide corporations with incentives to have employees die in accordance with their policy projections. Yet, as it turns out, there is a precedent for wealthy people to benefit from the death of others. Pause. Just like many of your favorite black rappers who are freaking idiots run around, yeah, I'm gangster, they got money on my head. But then you run around and don't put money on your own head. But just like Mo 3, King Von, and Young Dolph, I'm gangster, I own my masters, I got all this money. Boom, you're dead. Oh, your masters aren't worth much because people aren't listening to your music. But that life insurance policy that Empire Distribution had on you, you know, the $3 million they gave you for your rap kit is nothing in comparison to the, $20 million worth of guaranteed money through life insurance that they're going to get. And let's say they paid $200,000 for the premium. And let's say they paid $50,000 for the Hasidic hitman in New York to come and kill you. So they paid $250,000. Oh, I'm sorry, $3.2 million because they paid you $3 million and then they paid $250,000. So $3.25 million to get back $20 million. But yet you Negroes that I talk to on a daily basis still do all this dumbness. Well, I may sound like an asshole now, but you know what? I've been doing it for over 12 years, and I've seen too many of these situations, especially from Black Americans. So if me talking sounds like an asshole, imagine how much of an asshole you people must feel like to leave your families in these conditions. But I digress. Let's continue. Historians have reached an apparent consensus about why the U.S. life insurance industry did not take root until the 1840s. They have argued persuasively that as more and more Americans abandoned rural homesteads for urban employment opportunities, they left behind the community networks that had previously sustained them in times of crisis. These developments, coupled with the declining significance of the church as the primary arbiter of moral judgment regarding commercial matters, led Americans to find security in emergent forms of investment like life insurance. Or so the argument goes. Yet this narrative fails to adequately explain why Americans embraced life insurance at this specific historic juncture. A few years after the formal abolition of slavery in Britain, in the decades which would ultimately come to include secession, war, Reconstruction, and redemption in the U.S., how did these developments shape changing attitudes about the value of a human life, about region, race, morality, and risk? Life insurance began in earnest in Britain in the latter part of the 18th century, after the emergent field of probability mathematics settled on the life table as a way to chart and quantify human mortality. And while the idea of insuring a human life was not immediately institutionalized in any systemic fashion, life insurance took root in British civil society in the decades to follow. Why then did it take many more decades before the industry gained credibility in the U.S., despite widespread campaigns to boost its popularity? In this course of this inquiry, it is crucial that we do not overlook sustained efforts by life insurance firms to create a favorable impression concerning the merits of this new strategy for capitalizing risk. Amidst these causal factors, it is worth noting that scholarly explanations about the historical emergence of life insurance typically overlook the business of insuring slaves, which had become a robust domain of commercial traffic by the 1830s. Because they were insuring slaves in the 1700s, and they were insuring the lives of these slaves in the 1700s. This oversight stems from too narrow an analytic framework. Slave insurance was property insurance, real estate, more specifically, in places like New Orleans, as Negroes did not have juridical status as legal persons until the formal abolition of slavery in the U.S. in 1865. And yet, in slave insurance policies, human chattel was priced not according to physical stature, as often has been the assumption. Instead, prices were based on the enslaved person's skill set. Artisans like blacksmiths, workers with highly coveted expertise like coal miners, and those who excelled in especially dangerous industries like railroads commanded the highest dividends. This means slave insurance was more like life insurance than historians have been wanting to acknowledge. It also means that slave insurance foreshadowed postbellum genres of corporate insurance, as owners of capital sought to shield themselves against the risks associated with the loss of an individual's capacity for labor. Because it is intimately connected to our capacity to find relief from illness or injury, Since it is bound up in our ability to earn an income and with the fate of our closest kin, insurance, namely life insurance, has since the industrial age helped people to measure the distance from familiar modes of mutual aid. The formal structures of financial assistance continue to provide a language through which people comment on social mobility. ICE insured. Fuck life insurance, says rapper Rick Ross, who borrowed his stage persona from a notorious narcotics trafficker by the same name in Live Fast, Die Young, as he asserts that his jewelry is more valuable and thus more worthy of securitization than his own life. Taking my cue from the question of what it means for one person to have commercial interest in another person's life, this essay uses the under-theorized relationship between slave insurance and life insurance to chart the politics of stratification in the modern age. After all, the same period which witnessed the demise of formal enslavement saw the debut of structures that protected the privilege of people whose wealth and power threatened to come undone. This would include sharecropping and convict leasing. Despite a similar emphasis on institutionalizing credit-debt relations, insurance appears benign by comparison, even though insurance agencies assign differential value to human lives. The birth of insurance is frequently seen, along with the triumph of capitalism and democracy, as a part of the birth of freedom. In what follows, I explore how the paradox defined the dialectical emergence of industries for slave insurance and life insurance, and by extension, categories of social belonging and forms of economic and political participation in the antebellum and postbellum U.S. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to pause here, and I'm going to do a second video of this, which will follow the rest of this lecture from our buddy Michael Ralph at New York University. So, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you hit that like, drop a comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you're made aware every time I release new content. And as always, share, share, share. Lastly, to contribute to channel growth, to purchase life insurance directly up to $1 million with an instant decision and no medical exam, or to schedule a one-on-one appointment with a licensed financial professional, the links are in the description. With that being said, wipe ass, work in progress every day, and see success. Salute, salute, salute. Hey folks, this last video was sponsored by my company, where we help people like you to reach their financial goals. We do this through a simple conversation where we help to identify and then protect your lifestyle, and then we implement a plan. The process starts at about an hour. So, if you want more information or you want to schedule a consult, contact me via the information in the description box, and let's talk and see if we're actually a great fit for each other. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, when people challenge you, they don't challenge you to challenge you, but they challenge you to challenge you. Accept the challenge. Thank you, and enjoy life.